On August 30th, 1904, in the sweltering heat of St. Louis, Missouri, 32 men lined up for what would become the most bizarre affair in sporting history. This wasn't just a race, it was a survival test conducted in 90-degree heat on dusty, unpaved country roads. By the end, only 14 men would cross the finish line. One would be disqualified for hitching a ride in a car, another would nearly die from inhaling dust, and the winner would be fueled by a cocktail of brandy and rat poison. The conditions were a recipe for disaster. The race began at 3 p.m., the hottest part of the day. James Sullivan, the chief organizer, had a cruel scientific curiosity. He wanted to research purposeful dehydration. To do this, he provided only one water source, a single well, along the entire 24-mile course. As the runners struggled through the humidity, race officials drove cars ahead of them, kicking up massive clouds of dust that choked the athletes. One runner, William Garcia, was found unconscious on the side of the road with severe internal injuries from breathing in that very dust. Then there was the scandal. Frederick Laws was the first to enter the stadium, clocking in at 3 hours and 13 minutes. The crowd went wild. Alice Roosevelt, daughter of the US president, was about to place a wreath on his head and award him the gold medal when a spectator shouted the truth. Laws hadn't run the whole way. He had suffered cramps at mile 9, hitched a ride in a car for 11 miles, and only started running again when the car broke down. He claimed it was a practical joke, but the officials were not laughing. With Laws disqualified, the real winner emerged, Thomas Hicks. But Hicks was in no condition to celebrate. 10 miles from the finish, he was ready to quit, but his trainers refused to let him lie down. Instead, they administered the first recorded use of performance-enhancing drugs in the modern Olympics. Hicks was given several doses of strychnine, a common rat poison that in small amounts acts as a nervous system stimulant, mixed with brandy and raw egg whites. By the time he reached the stadium, Hicks was hallucinating and barely able to walk. His support team literally carried him over the finish line, holding him in the air while he shuffled his feet as if he were still running. He had lost 8 pounds during the race and had to be treated by 4 doctors to prevent his death. But the chaos didn't stop with Hicks. The 4th place finisher was Andarin Carvajal, a Cuban postman who had hitchhiked to St. Louis after losing all his money gambling in New Orleans. He ran in street clothes he had cut into shorts. During the race, he stopped to steal peaches from a spectator and later ate apples from an orchard. The apples were rotten, causing him to suffer stomach cramps so severe he decided to take a mid-race nap. He woke up, kept running, and still nearly medalled. Even the first black Africans to compete in the Olympics, Len Taunyan and Jan Mashiani, couldn't escape the absurdity. Taunyan was doing well until he was chased over a mile off course by a stray dog. When the dust finally settled, Thomas Hicks was the champion, but his winning time of 3 hours, 28 minutes, and 53 seconds remains the slowest in Olympic history. It was a race defined by poor organization, cruel experiments, and a winner who was quite literally poisoned to victory. Was this the worst run event in history, or just the most honest look at the early days of the Olympic Games? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more deep dives into history's strangest moments, don't forget to hit the bell.